I want to start off by saying thank you very much for inviting me to be part of the EduKit thing. So I want to talk about taking care of each other. So this is my school, and it's Northwold School, which is in Hackney. And this is the team. I've got a really, really diverse staff, and we have a lot of fun together. This is the last day, roundest match, major cheating, lots of food. And I love the fact that we were all there together having a really, really nice time. And the fact is that I've got a team who've been through an awful lot together. And this is my leadership team. And we co-lead, we take it in turn. I think it's my responsibility to prepare leaders for the future. So each day, one of us has a different day to lead this team. And one of the reasons why we are so tight as a staff group is that when I took the school on, we were in the bottom of the bottom 1%. And it was the school that no one wanted to work in, and it was a major struggle. And we're now in the top 0.1%, so that's been a major drive. And that makes you want to celebrate things together. There was a time, we kind of turned around sort of 2012. It took a few years for it to be embedded. And at the time, I think this was 2013, we were having headlines like this: pupils being damaged by endless tests set by Gove. And there was the time where people were sort of saying, we need to look at Finland, we need to do all of these sorts of things because our pupils are super stressed. But actually, what we were victims of a vicious circle, and I think that's still going on now. So we have unrealistic expectations placed on us. We've got a blame culture. So we get our targets. That's passed on to the LEAs. The LEAs pass it on to head teachers pass it on to their teachers pass it on to the children. Parents want to know why their schools aren't doing X, Y, and Z without really wanting to understand the intricacies. And I think I was probably part of that really, really horrible cycle, because everybody was saying, turn the school around, go faster, do this, do that. They weren't really interested in everyday counting or for every single child, but it was completely about year 6 being successful. And it was really difficult. And then I got to the point where suddenly I hit the wall. I was really disconnected. I wasn't celebrating anymore, and we were just going through, yes, on the surface, looking like we were doing well, but the reality was that I'd started to disconnect, and the job became perfunctory. And the human bit is really easy to lose the human bit within education, when actually that should be the main driver. So why did that happen? Well, it's about perfect balance. So if you've got work and life and you get that balance right, then it looks a bit like this. You know, we all want to celebrate. It needs to be, it's something that we all strive for. But the reality is that sometimes we get the balance wrong and something's got to give. And you can either be the type that party, well, actually I'm South African, and the South African thing, oh, hello. Hello. Okay, so you know that in South Africa, you party hard and you work hard. But I think that certainly over here and within education, you can either party a lot, and we all know what that looks like in the classroom the next day and day on day, or you can actually begin to compromise your own life because you spend a disproportionate amount of time looking after I always think I was looking after other people's children more than I was disconnecting with, rather than connecting with my own child. I was telling other parents that they needed to sit around the dining table and talk with, spend more time talking to their children when I was at governing body meetings instead of being with my own child. And then it just got to the point when I realised, no, this is really awful. I've got an amazing coach called Viv Grant who works for Integrity, and she said, okay, this is what it looks like when you hit the wall and you need to do something about it. So, yeah, I then, at that point in 2013, we'd done an awful lot. We'd rescued the playground. The children were learning and having a really wonderful time. They have a great curriculum. And the children knew that we really, really valued every single one of them. But what did that do to the staff? Did the staff feel as valued? Well, actually, if I wasn't feeling okay, how was my staff feeling? And my governors were great, because obviously governors have a responsibility for head teacher well-being. And they sort of said, do what you need to do. And they were throwing money at me, but it wasn't about me. It was actually no good putting money into me. We needed to put the money into all of us. And we needed a different way of thinking. So I spoke to my governors and I said, you really, really need to start investing some of the school budget on staff well-being. We spend a lot of money on pupil well-being, but if you don't take care of the staff, then something's going to go really, really wrong. So they decided to, or they agreed initially just as a plan, and then we moved forward faster. And it's now become part of our school budget, where we have a well-being budget. And it's about 1% of the school budget. And we use it for things like quality inset for all of the staff, subsidised lunch. We have health checks every year for all of the staff. They all get the flu jab if they want it. There's free drinks and snacks. We've got a really nice staff room. My teachers only plan English and maths lessons, and we found a creative way so that we can do all of the creative things that was talked about earlier by working with a range of other people. We've got a really nice staff room where nobody's allowed to work. We have workplace massages, we've got a staff gym, we've got a staff garden. And I also recently had a teacher who came over from Italy, and everything was really, really hard for him, and his world crashed. His girlfriend left him, he felt inadequate, he couldn't get used to London, all those sorts of things, and he became super stressed. And he went off and was written off with stress, and then he had to go to those stress workshops that doctors send you to. So I contacted the local clinic and sort of said, these wellbeing workshops, can we do it before people go down rather than after? And so they've just been, and it was brilliant, absolutely 4 weeks of brilliance. So that's the kind of things that we're doing. But we also started doing mindfulness. The whole school does it, and the children do it 3 times a day. All the staff have had the training, the parents have had the training, and we've got this culture going on in our school. We haven't had any exclusions for 3 years now. And this is our children about to go off and do their SATs. They do not feel stressed. They don't care because they know they've worked hard enough and they're having a fun time in school. There's a video that is worth looking at, which tells you our journey to doing mindfulness. And you'll find the link, I'm sure, in the PowerPoint. And the result is a win-win. So we've got more engaged staff, higher school, the school standards have been maintained. Oops. We've got increased staffing retention, improved staff attendance, which went from 64% up to 98% year on year. And when I got there, the governors were spending $780,000 a year on supply teaching. The wellbeing budget is 30,000, so it's 700,000 cheaper. And of course, the children have got continuity and much more fun going on. So I think it's a safer thing. We've got a better community cohesion, much healthier staff and pupils, and actually everybody feels quite happy and successful. And that's pretty much how we work together and have lots and lots of fun. And then there is a little video there where you can see staff and parents and everybody else just coming together, which just shows what communication can look like when staff feel valued. Okay.
Wonderful.